Hey there everyone, this is Druid of the again. I'm just doing my first actually modern build deck. Um, I decided to go over one of my favorite modern decks I actually built. I call it Raging Goblin. It's actually a mono red deck. It runs 20 basic mountain lands. Um, Pretty simplistic. The reason why I run 20 instead of the stereotypical 17 to 18 I would normally run is because it runs a 62 card deck. Now the thing is that a lot of people when they run goblins, they run goblin guides or other stuff like that. But you're gonna see from my creature base and my spells, I'm not going that route. I'm going crazy goblins. So we're gonna show what I got, what I'm doing, and if you guys have any ideas, suggestions, upgrades, ideas, and stuff like that, that'd be wonderful. We're just gonna do a quick skim through of the sideboard that I put together. The sideboard is actually pretty simplistic. It's a 4 of madcap skills, just so you know. 2 to enchant. Enchant creature gets +3/+0. It can't be blocked except by 2 or more creatures. 3 goblin fodders. A Mizium mortar. 2 searing bloods. And finally 1 magnetic insight. And then 2 legion loyalists and a pile driver if you'll come over here. Now, these are my sideboard. As you see, most of my sideboard is different burns and token production, while the creatures are actually more for specifically blue decks or token decks, depending on what I'm going up against. Now, for the main board creatures is pretty simplistic. First off, we got a 3 of Goblin Arsonist. Now, Goblin Arsonist is a 1-drop, 1/1, that when it dies, it deals 1 damage to target creature or player. It's a great 1-drop that can get rid of most pesky infectors, the way that we're running it. Then we have a 4 of Mudbud and Torch Runner. Mudbud and Torch Runner is a 3-drop, 1/1, but when it dies, it deals 3 damage to target creature or player. So, again, starting to notice the theme. I want my stuff to die so far. The next one that we run is a 4 of Orthoptopper. I could run Midnight because it's a 1/1, but I like Orthoptopper more because it's a 0/2 for 0 with flying. So I can drop it for 0 and get a good body to defend myself if I need to. Okay, so pretty simplistic so far, right? The next one is actually where the deck's real strategy starts trying to kick in. You'll see as soon as we start going to the non-creature permanents afterwards. Signal Pest. I run a 4 of. They're 0/1 for 1, but it can't be blocked except by creatures with flying or reach, so that's its protection. But it has battle cries. Whenever it attacks, attacking creatures get +1/+0 except for it. So as you can see, that's one of those fun things. And actually, I'm going to admit something. When I first saw Signal Pest, as you can see, its head's actually right here. But when I first saw it, I thought that was like the thorax holding on thing, and that was its head. It was just shrieking out. But no, that's not what it is. I was so sad when I found out that. I was like, oh man, it's like a little gremlin. So on to our next little bit of creatures. We run a 3 of Goblin War Driver. It's a 2-drop for 2, or 2/2 for 2, so it's a bear, but it has Battle Cry. Same as the Signal Pest. So, as you see, as my creatures are attacking, they're all going to get stronger, especially with the more creatures I have and stuff like that. And our final one is, unfortunately, a harder card to get a hold of right now because of its price, and actually up until I got a handful of them, I was running Legion Loyalists instead. But right now I'm running a 4 or 3 of a Vexing Double. I'm actually on my way to getting my 4th one and doing that. Now the reason Vexing Double is in here, he is the only non-goblin creature in this whole deck, but he's a 1-drop 4/3. Now his ability isn't what I call a downside. I want my opponents to do his ability. Because his ability is when he enters the battlefield, any opponent may have it deal 4 damage to him or her. If they do, you sacrifice Vexing Double. So basically I'm playing a 1-drop Lightning Bolt +1. So I deal 4 damage turn 1 because they don't want the 4/3 sticking around. And if they do, then whatever. It's awesome. So as you can see, most of my creatures are self-sacrificed, and they don't care if they live or die. Typical goblin behavior. Now we're going to go to our first and only rare for the non-creature spells, and that is a 1 of Reforge the Soul. It's a 5-drop sorcery that each player discards his or her hand and draws 7 cards, but it can miracle for 2. There's only 1 of because I've learned with this deck, running more than 1 Reforge the Soul makes it run out of fuel too quickly. And if you draw it on your first hand, it kind of sits there. If you draw another one, Everyone knows that. But I've had so many times where I need a miracle, and Reforge the Soul, the one of, has saved me. It's taken me to first in several tournaments with that mechanic. The next one is a 3 of Infernal Plunge. This was released in the original Innistrad block, and it's a 1-drop sorcery where you sacrifice a creature to add 3 black or 3 red mana. Now, as you remember, a lot of our goblins love to die to deal damage. So I can turn one Arsonist, or even an Ornithopter, to go Infernal Plunge, to drop out my Mud Button on turn 1, or 3 Vexing Devils, or a War Driver and a Signal Pest, and start swinging through the next attacks. So you see there, my creatures are willing to die to get a little bit ahead. Now, like I was saying, Reforge the Soul, there's only one of because it helps your opponent or hurts them at the same time. But that doesn't mean the deck doesn't have Throw mechanic either. It runs a 2 of Magnetic Insight and throw in the other one from the sideboard just because, again, its ability is you tap 1, discard a land in addition to its casting cost, and draw 2 cards. Now people tell me Tormenting Voices, blah blah blah. As you can see so far, the highest converted mana cost in this deck is 5. I usually don't need 5. I only need like 2 or 3, and after that I will ditch my lands to draw 2 more cards to run into more fuel. If I'm running against a longer game, that's my sideboard and the other stuff. So that's a good strategy right there. Of course, the stereotypical 4 of the Lightning Bolt. If you don't know, then you don't know Magic and you need to get out. No, I'm just joking. Lightning Bolt is a 1-drop instant for 3 damage to target creature or player. They're never going to reprint it. But luckily for us, it's still modern legal. Then we're going to run a 4 of Goblin Grenade. Again, Goblin Grenade is a sorcery for 1. You sacrifice a goblin as additional cost, and it deals 5 damage to a creature player. So let's say we go back to the scenario where we already have the Arsonist, and we do this. 6 damage right there, or 1 damage to their ineffective creature, 5 damage to your opponent's face, for 2 mana total. Not a bad trade-off, especially for this deck. It has no graveyard recursion though, so it's got to play smart for red, which is funny. The next thing is a 4 of Kodothia Rebirth. This is why the battle cry is in here, because I can turn 1 Ornithopter and then Kodothia Rebirth and get 3 Goblin tokens. Now, sometimes what I've had happen is I'll get 2 Ornithoppers, and 2 Signal Pests in my hand. So what I'll do is Infernal Plunge one of the Ornithoppers, Reforge the Soul, and then Kodothia Rebirth and play the Signal Pests. So the next turn I swing through for like 11 damage on turn 2. I have done this. It is a real thing that this deck can do. That's why it's dangerous. The last little bit of the deck is actually a 3 of collateral damage. Now this is similar to Lightning Bolt, as is its instant speed, dealing 3 damage for 1, but yet sacrifice a creature. Again, most of our creatures don't really care if they die. Now a lot of people tell me that it could use some changes, and people try to tell me, oh, you need to throw this in here, throw this in here. I like it the way that it is, and I like suggestions because sometimes I overlook cards. But as you can see, it's sacrificing for cheap. Nothing in here except for 1 or 2 cards is over 2 mana. You are never mana screwed in this deck, especially with running 20 land in a 62 card deck. Even if it was down to 60, it would only run 17 land, or 18 tops, just because it doesn't really need the extra support. Now, I'm going to be doing something else nice for my video this week, because I missed out last week, and that's this. My friend was nice. She saw that I was having a bad week and decided to get me 3 booster packs from Walmart. You know, she knows it's my hobby, so she's like, here, you know, you're having a bad week, so why don't I get you these? Be a nice friend. I'm like, oh, that's so sweet of you. Too bad you're married and I have a girlfriend. Woo. No, I'm just joking. She's just a really good friend that I've known for a while. And she knows when I'm upset. What kind of cheers me up? So we have Oath of the Gatewatch, Battle for Zendikar, and Shadows over Innistrad. Now, the thing is, she didn't know what I have, what I don't have, so she just got 1 of each, which is pretty nice. So we're going to go in chronological order, Zendikar, Oath, and Shadows. See what we got, and then we'll end the video there. Again, if you guys are liking my videos, or if anyone's actually watching them, just kind of let me know what I can do to try to keep people's interest, or change the channel, or, you know, what would be interesting for people. So our first uncommon is Herald of Kozilek, Chasm Guide, Retreat to Imra, and a Serpentine Spike. Yeah. 7 drop, sorcery, devoid, 2 damage to one creature, 3 to another, and 4 to another. If damage dealt this way would destroy the creatures, they're exiled instead. You know, so, yay, not that good of a card. Woot. Plains and a Cure Symbol. Not that bad. Gatewatch. Maybe we'll get one of the new fetch lands, like, I don't know, Wasteland. That would be interesting. But, you know, I'm not caring. I've got most everything from this block anyways. And our first uncommon is Meandering River. Sorry. Prophet of Distortion. Ruin in their wake. And a Kozilek's Return. And it's not that bad. It was one of those hype cards, I think. I don't think it's ranked for too terribly much. I could be wrong. But it's a 3-drop. It deals 2 damage to each creature whenever you cast an Eldrazi spell that convert my cost 7 or greater. If it's it, you may exile it from a graveyard. It deals 5 damage to each creature. So if you're in one turn you can do it both, it'll deal 7 damage to everything. Not that bad of a card, especially if you're running Eldrazi. So, you know, nothing earth-shattering. And the last one, Avacyn. I pulled the Avacyn, which was pretty nice, so I got my full collection for Avacyn Restored. So I'm not really looking for anything here except for maybe some value, I guess, for the most part. We have a Ravenous Bloodseeker, an Obsessive Skinner, a Forsaken Sanctuary, and a Scourge Wolf. 2-drop 2/2 with First Strike with Delirium of Double Strike, which isn't that bad. Lambholt Pacifist, and a Foil Lightning Axe. I like Lightning Axe. Now this is one of the things one of my friends suggested me for my Goblin deck, in all honesty, which is kind of funny, because he was just telling me about this. And don't get me wrong, I like the 1-drop 5 damage, but in all honesty, to me, I can do the same thing for Goblin Grenade. Instead of discarding a card, I can sacrifice a creature and deal it to a creature or a player, unlike this, which is strictly creature. And that's the problem that I have with Lightning Axe in the deck. Well, I do like how it shines like that, because it's foil. Light hits the right, and it's kind of like a lava axe or something. But like I said, if anyone has any comments, concerns, questions, ideas, stupid things, I'm going to try to get my friends when they come over this Wednesday to play a game of Rip It or Flip It. I'm hoping they'll play it with me. I don't know if they're actually going to do it, but it'll be funny if I can make them cringe like I cringed when I played it a few weeks ago. Nothing majorly valuable was lost in the Tell Me That video. And, my local game store owner has a copy of the video. I've been waiting for him to post it so I can get a copy of it so I can post it on my channel, because I think that's a pretty funny video. My other friend suggested also doing duels and stuff, but the problem is a lot of time my friends are at work or I'm at work, and we have different work schedules. But when I get the opportunity to, I will be probably trying to post a video if I get the opportunity to. An idea, comment, concern of, or ideas of whether it should be Commander, Standard, Modern, Tabletop, a draft format. I may do a draft video one day where me and my friend will buy 6 packs from the new block, probably Edric Moon, and or play with our pre-release decks and show you what we built. Some ideas. And I'm sorry about not posting a video last week. I think it was. I wasn't feeling good. I overslept pre-release day by like an hour, so I literally missed registering for release day by 5 minutes, and everyone was already starting. There was an equal number of players. No one dropped, so it was just a waste of my day. I felt so bad because I actually had the day off for it, but I'm a lot better now. I'm over it. Like I said, my friend helped me out by buying me the packs, and overall, there's not a lot of bad. But I did notice this actually just now. They're all red. My friend is a very passionate person, apparently. Well, you guys have a good one. I'll see you next time. Actually, I won't see you. Unless that'd be creepily weird. I don't know. It's just one of those things now. I'm going to stop before I go crazy. Bye!